Hi, I'm Mike Delorier, and I am the host of the Ramblin Thoughts of Insanity's Lightbulb. I am recording this video on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. This week, I'm hitting pause on the usual teenage trauma and toe orgies. And on this episode, I'm going to take a moment to talk about a current event that is very dear and close to my heart. A week ago, on June 11th, 2025, Brian Wilson, co-founder of the Beach Boys, and my unofficial therapist for an emotionally confused surfer wannabe, passed away. Now, if you know me, you know the Beach Boys had a massive impact on my teenage life. I mean, how else does a weird California-born kid who moved 19 times and survived Sister Teresa's algebra tests and total rejection at school dancers ever make it through his teenage years? And I thought the ultimate event in my life was to see the Beach Boys in concert, or at least know someone that did. In 1984, while attending Chesapeake College, I became friends with Keith, Marianne, Debbie, and Tim. It was Tim and Keith who actually got to see the Beach Boys in concert before I did. It just happened to be when the Beach Boys were performing at Live Aid. And Keith and Tim swore it changed their lives. So when the Beach Boys did their 25th anniversary tour, we all packed into the car and headed to Merriweather Post Pavilion for my first and only Beach Boy concert. Katrina and the Waves opened, and then the legends themselves took the stage. Now, from being from Southern California, there are two things you must already know before you're born. The first is how to ride the wave through the fallopian tube, dude. And the second, to know at least one Beach Boy song before you pop out of your mother's womb. The song I chose to sing was their first 1962 hit, Surfin'. Not only was it a great song, but when I was hungry, all I'd have to do is say, bop, bop, and my mother would answer, dip, 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 dip. That's real mother and son bonding. But life happens. Diapers turn into potty training. The Beach Boys faded into the background, lost in the haze of Sesame Street, the electric company, and learning to play well with others, or at least getting along with my imaginary friends. But no matter what, I always consider myself a California boy. Then came the fall of 1979. My mother started college at Glenville State in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. In this small, remote West Virginia town, I was reintroduced to the Beach Boys. The college library had an expansive record collection in the basement with listening rooms. Well, one day while my mother was in class, I went down to the basement, and one of the records they had was the Beach Boys' Endless Summer. I found it. And I went into one of the listening rooms. I dropped the needle, and suddenly California burst through those West Virginia hills like it was reclaiming me. I was home. Sun, fun, and of course, girls. I was there. I had Malibu waves in my blood, suntan body, and I had the unstable energy of someone who had been surfing too long without water. Not to mention, I was nuts. Probably because when I lived in California, I lived on the outskirts of a town called Cucamonga. As soon as my mother got out of class, I made my mom check out the album Endless Summer. I listened to that record until the grooves wore thin. I couldn't get enough. From that day on, I was riding high and fast on the California Soundwave. Jan and Dean, the Safaris, the Ventures, the Fantastic Baggies. But no one captured my soul quite like the Beach Boys. Their songs weren't just music. They gave me permission to dream about sun-bleached hair and boardwalk kisses, even while being kicked out of the seminary or struggling with trying not to squeeze the Sherman while I was trying to use the big boy potty. It was Brian Wilson's lyrics who always got me thinking about the sun, the sand, and the surf. By 1985, I was a weekend DJ at WCEI. And when Get You Back came out, I finally got to hit play on a Beach Boys track myself. All right, my sunburned surfers and heartbroken California wannabes, here's a brand new one from the Beach Boys to soundtrack your boardwalk nights in Ocean City, Maryland. Whether you're strolling with a ice-cold root beer or just nursing the heartbreak of the one that got away, crank it up like you're in a drive-in with no parental supervision and a tan that will never fade. This is Get Your Back right here on the Mid-Shores radio station, WCEI. So when I heard Brian Wilson passed away just 1 week ago, I knew I couldn't stay silent. And ever since I started this YouTube video podcast experiment / therapy session, I've been digging into my past like an emotional Indiana Jones. Except, instead of a whip, I've got a Walkman. And instead of finding the Ark of the Covenant, I discovered that fun was actually a bikini-filled portal to Surf City. So I took a few days, hit pause on the usual trauma parade, and wrote this tribute to one of my all-time music heroes. Thanks, Brian, for the harmonies, the pushes through the heartbreak, and the reminder that sometimes all you need is a beach, a board, and a dream that never really totally grows up. Next Sunday, a regular Rambling Thoughts of Insanity's Lightbulb will drop, and we'll continue this weird, wild experiment. Talk to you next Sunday.